Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I'm Sid Part 2. Joining me today is
Steve.
Steve. So I just want to take a moment here and say it has been 15 years since anyone was hype about Green Lantern except for me. And it feels so good. We're back. No one has suffered more than my people.
You're not wrong.
Oh, it's really funny. So Lanterns is we're talking about the pilot of Lanterns. Initially we said we wouldn't cover it week to week, but I might just say fuck it, we're doing it week to week.
I wouldn't be opposed.
We're always gonna be like a week off, so I don't know. We'll eventually at least cover the whole first season in some way, shape, or form. But I did want to talk about just the pilot, because it has just been so long in coming, and the amount of like scared, I guess, I was getting about it, particularly after the first trailer dropped for this. I was like, no, don't fuck up another one. I didn't even watch the trailer. I just watched like people's reaction to it, like posting some of the images of like Hal's suit and being like, "Oh no." But it's nice to see that the public perception on this one has, at least for episode 1, dramatically shifted, and that people are like not only on board but super on board. The pilot's got like, what is it, a 90% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes and shit, so that's pretty cool. I've been seeing everybody like post the Rotten Tomatoes score between the episode 1 and the Ryan Reynolds movie, and I'm like, damn. But it's you know what's funny about it for me from the other side though is not only like, before we even get into the quality of the pilot in and of itself, is just the public perception, because like even the people that don't like this are talking about the Green Lantern stuff that is good that they do like. So they're like, oh, this show is shit, but the comics Hal, that's the best Hal. Or, oh, I don't like the new show, but you know, the Ryan Reynolds movie, maybe we were too harsh on it. So I'm really getting the like full spectrum of just like, I'm getting nothing but Lantern love in all its ways, shapes, and forms, and I'm happy about that.
If only there was a Lantern spectrum color for love.
Yeah.
If only.
So it's been really, really refreshing as a Green Lantern fan to just get there, at least for this week. I don't know, maybe episode 2 comes out and it all goes downhill, but at least for this week I just get to bask in the ambiance of people like my thing, and I'm happy people like the thing. What's been your what kind of feedback and reaction have you been seeing?
Well, you know, I mean, it's kind of crazy because when something gets announced, usually I like to think about the people involved, whether or not I like them, and then give it a shot when it premieres instead of having
Weird.
really intense reactions to a thing that I haven't seen. So, I've just been ignoring most of the Lanterns discourse because everyone involved has just been a fucking petulant child. So I'm sorry you didn't get Hal Jordan from the comics. I very much wanted to see Hal Jordan be butt dialed by an old lady and then stop some bank robbers. I'm sure that's exactly what everyone's talking about when they say Hal Jordan of the comics, right? The Silver Age comics where he's just going around charging his lantern ring every 24 hours with his racist sidekick, and the fact that his costume was actually spandex in that one. But anyway. Um, yeah, I've been ignoring a lot of it. I'm not the biggest Damon Lindelof fan, but I am a big Tom King guy. So this was a good sort of merging of worlds. So I was intrigued by it. Every trailer and every interview sold us on this is just True Detective with Green Lantern rings. And every time a trailer or a new clip showed up, I'm like, oh, hey, this looks like True Detective with Green Lantern rings. And then the episode aired, and my immediate reaction was, holy shit, they did True Detective with Lantern rings. So I was pretty excited about that. I'm a big True Detective fan, so that was cool. I don't know if you want to just get into the overall part of the quality of the show, but I really liked the first episode. I thought it was a really, really good pilot. It's not really a pilot. Like it's not a pilot in the sense that the episode was filmed and then they greenlit the show, right? It's not a real pilot. It's just episode 1. But I really
cool
like
too. We killed the main character. Spoilers. We killed the main character in the pilot.
But I really liked it. I thought it was good. The big thing people have been comparing it to is True Detective, but there's also been a lot of other like scattered stuff where people are like, it's actually a lot like Reacher, or it's a lot like a Tyler Sheridan show. I think a lot of that just stems from the fact that Damon Lindelof is like a premier TV guy, and everything about this show just harkens back to the formula you would see not only in his Watchmen show, but also things like Lost. And the way the mystery is set up, the way that it's a real slow burn, everything about it is kind of just quintessential Damon Lindelof TV writing. Tom King's also been talking about for years and years and years wanting to do True Detective Season 3 in one of his stories. Season 3 of True Detective takes place in 3 separate timelines. So there's one story in the 80s, one story in the 90s, and then one story in, I think, present day or a few years before. And he tried to do that with Batcat because it also takes place in the past, present, and future. So for years, he's been talking about, I want to do a thing set in 3 different timelines. So you combine True Detective Season 3 with a Damon Lindelof show, and you've got Lanterns. And I think that merging is really interesting. The MVP, though, Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, fucking nails it. I was on the Kyle Chandler bandwagon for a while. The second they cast him, I'm like, this guy is perfect. And he did not disappoint. He's incredible. I love everything about him. Jon Stewart's good too. He's fine. I have no issues with him. But man, did they nail Hal Jordan.
It is interesting how perfectly cast he is, and just like how well the character comes off the page. I was sitting in the Discord server talking about it with someone who's not a Green Lantern fan. They just kind of saw the trailers for this and was like, this looks fucking good. Like, saw the trailers and the interviews and just legitimately getting hyped around it. And then, it was funny to talk to someone of that persuasion, because the moments that worked for them are the moments that felt the most Hal Jordan to me. In that, like, weird, the character comes off the page kind of thing. Because we always talk about this sort of like, yes, these characters are just little paper people and anyone can start writing them and have them do anything, and it's not really out of character, it's just the writer's vision. But there is that, like, nebulous through line that exists for these guys. So the thing for me in episode 1 was the bar fight as a plan to get arrested on purpose in order to interrogate the person he wants to interrogate, and then it just not working, and like being told that's a bad plan. He's like, nah, it'll work, and it just doesn't. That whole sequence of I've got a brand new pair of roller skates, like that, to Your Honor, come on, is just the most Hal Jordan that anyone has ever Hal Jordan.
The bar fight's a great one. The moment that really stood out to me as like that's just Hal Jordan is when he finds out John slept with that dude's wife, and he's like, "We've been here 24 hours. I'm impressed."
Yeah.
So fucking funny.
No, it's fucking fantastic. I love it. So that's all really fucking good. So that was interesting. Chandler is just again phenomenal casting. It's real funny because one of the takes that I'm seeing from people who are really against this is like it's not even about whether or not he's well cast or like they've captured the essence of the character from the books. There's just like this, very I feel kind of entitled Hal Jordan stan attitude of Hal Jordan is the Green Lantern. He is the driving force of the books. To cast someone so old and already past their prime, it doesn't matter how good they are in the role. It's always going to be disappointing that we're just putting the main character of Green Lantern and relegating him to the past. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I like Hal Jordan well enough, but as a fan of just the Green Lantern world, other characters within it, Hal is important and I like him, but you gotta at some point reconcile with the fact that we try to replace this dude like every 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I don't know like what you really do with that. Like even after they're like, I don't know, this whole Kyle Rayner thing isn't working out. We should bring back Hal Jordan. And they bring back Hal Jordan, and then 2004 to 2014, or no, 2011 is when even Jeff Johns is like, I really need to introduce someone else as Green Lantern. He creates Simon Baz in 2011, so like not even a full 10 years. Not that they did much with Simon Baz, but still. Then after Baz, we get Jessica, and after Jessica, we get Joe. So it's just we're constantly trying to switch this dude out. And I've talked about my feeling is we just need to have the balls to kill these characters more often. Even the ones I like, I would stand by that because you can't tell a good story if you're gonna just always relegate them to the background.
Yeah, I mean the thing that this show has done in its lead up is it's made me realize that there are a whole lot of people who have strong opinions about Hal Jordan that simply did not exist 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago, because for my entire comic reading lifetime everyone hated Hal Jordan. Every person I talked to was like, if you liked Hal Jordan, you were in the minority of fans of superheroes, because everyone liked Kyle, everyone liked John, everyone liked Guy even.
No one liked Guy. No one likes Guy.
No one should, but Guy Gardner has stands. Just ask anybody who's read a Tom King comic. People like Guy Gardner for some reason. But Hal Jordan's always been like the boring one, and anytime you brought him into a story, he was always kind of the stick in the mud. And it's interesting that this show has like ignited a fan base that I did not know existed, because even me going back, I've been reading a bunch of Silver Age Green Lantern stuff because DC's been reprinting it, and I read like the early House stuff, and then when Guy Gardner first shows up, and how all of that works. And it's interesting how even from the jump, DC is like, we got to get rid of Hal Jordan, man. We need someone with spunk. We need someone with more personality.
Okay, let me ask you something, because if you've been reading the classic comics, like you got to Guy's like first appearance and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I vaguely remember this, but I wanted to confirm because this addresses another complaint from like the diehard fan base of the comics that doesn't exist. And that was that two lanterns can't share one ring, and I'm like 90% sure that Guy only got the ring whenever Hal was incapacitated, and it was just Hal's ring or Hal's ring copying itself. Am I wrong?
No, that's exactly how it is. Guy
Okay,
and
thank
Hal
you.
don't team up. Guy and Hal don't really team up. It's always like either Hal is giving him the powers, or Guy's just got the ring while Hal doesn't.
Okay, so I was 100% right on that. Okay, that feels good. Because
Yeah, no, it's it.
it was just such the shittiest. Like real fans know that two lanterns can't share a ring, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure not only is that guy's like whole initial origin, but like Jeff Johns has a whole arc with Hal and Sinestro sharing a ring. Like, what are you talking about? I
Yeah, no.
I think what it is people just want a reason to be mad, and it's really hard to attack the show itself because it objectively is just done so well. Like, even if you're not a fan of like true crime or whatever, the performances are good, the storytelling's good, the fucking music in this is
Oh
good.
yeah.
One thing that I've not seen anyone mention about this, and it's not like the nerd shit, but it's just the really thick sense of tension you get as they're going through this investigation in 2016. Like that, just driving onto the ranch and all the like militiamen and the
Yeah.
scores just pounding, and then doing the same thing as they drive to the police station. The score is just like building. It's just so uncomfortable. There's just like this real sense of tension that like you kind of wonder, are they gonna fucking like walk into a room and like everyone's just gonna start shooting at them at some point? It's just like, you know, small town scary, where like it's a small enough community you could believe that everyone in here is ready to just, you know, bury you and tell everyone else that nah, we never even saw him,
Yeah.
or some shit.
Yeah, it's interesting, like just how much mileage they get out of everyone in this town knows each other. Everyone is either being secretive about something or just not being forthcoming about something that they could have easily found out. And because Hal is keeping John so much in the dark about everything from the jump, the fact that he's not really training him, the fact that he really doesn't learn anything about being a Green Lantern except from Hal's hologram, and then he voluntarily follows Hal into a situation where not only is Hal not being forthcoming, but nobody here is. It's a really nice setup where it just feels like at any given moment there is going to be just an explosion of some kind of violence. And one of the things I really appreciate in the beginning is when they get to, where are they, Nebraska? They get to Nebraska, um, and you're already seeing the aftermath of these people being killed on a football field, but you don't see it. You don't see the people getting gunned down. You don't really see the bodies. They're basically all covered up. It's always creating this exponential sense of tension, but there's just never a release in this show, until you get to the very, very, very end, and you see Hal's dead in the future somehow. And that feels like the final point of a release, and that's such a good way to entice people into your mystery.
Yeah, and a good way to piss a lot of people off. But you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you take the good, you take the bad, and suddenly, yeah, facts of life. Um,
How dare you kill Hal Jordan, the most famous Green Lantern for checks notes, dying?
Steve, Steve, the man's already dead. You don't need to. Steve, come on, have some decorum. Um, Man, oh, that was so funny. Yeah, the tension in this I found like really palpable. A lot of the humor in this I found just fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a very particular kind of humor where it is very like comics based, but not like MCU where we can't have a serious moment. We've got to like always throw in a joke every 5 minutes. It just comes from a very natural place and dynamic between these characters. Um, and I really liked a lot of the humor in this, particularly what you mentioned. only been here 24 hours. I'm impressed. Is really good, and just right out the beginning where he just puts the ring on the dashboard. There's a taco stand 3 miles down the road, and he should there and just fucking bolt from the car. Again, so Hal Jordan. Like I don't care. Terrifying, but beautiful.
Well, even like leading up to that moment where they're just in the car and John's just constant like, yes, sir. And Hal's like, every time you say yes, sir, it kind of sounds like fuck you.
And that's what I knew I wouldn't be able to watch this with my kids. So glad they got that out of the way early. Oh. Yeah. That's just
so. One thing I did want to mention, because I'm sure we want to talk about way more stuff than just Hal Jordan, but one thing I did want to mention is I really like this idea of introducing us to like a quintessential take on Hal Jordan, while being really overt about the fact that this is him on his last legs. And the idea that you're interrogating from the start is Hal Jordan's notion of being fearless really just a detriment to him as a person? That means he is not attached to anything, that he's just lonely, as that one cop lady says. There is something about Hal that's like it's really funny and he's very charismatic, but he is also like very standoffish, and I think Chandler does a really good job of like evoking like a sense of sadness even when he's being quippy. And I'm really interested to see how the show interrogates that idea of like, what does it actually mean to have no fear? And is that attainable? And is that necessary to be a hero in the first place?
I think that's all really impressive, and it kind of leads to one thing of like, did they the move here from like the corporate mandate seems to be, well, no one really likes Hal Jordan. The character that has the most popularity is Jon Stewart because of the cartoon show. So we need to make a Green Lantern thing, but John needs to be the main character. And in doing that, they've introduced a Hal Jordan and made him the most likable character of all time. And I think a lot of that comes from Kyle Chandler. It's funny because Gunn's come out and said, nah, the death is real, he's dead, and we're not going to be bringing Hal back past this project, or like as a, we're not going to resurrect him or anything, and we'll see. I wouldn't expect that kind of revelation to come out of fucking Twitter, but it is interesting to see that, very bold choice put right in the beginning of a series to be a hook for people. And then to contrast that with Aaron Pierre. Am I saying that right? Pierre?
No, I think that's right, Aaron Pierre.
Yeah, okay. To contrast that with him, who I like John in this, but he's not as like charismatic and as magnetic a personality as Chandler's Hal is in this. And then the big fan speculation thing going around, a lot of people are trying to say the show, just from the first time you see Hal in the modern day in 2016, is just screaming at you, he's Parallax now, he's Parallax. I'm like, possibly, but then like the ending kind of kills that theory, because somehow he's Parallax for like roughly 20 years and then just fucking gets shot in the head in the cold and freezes to death or whatever. So it's just, like that definitely seems to be a lot of like things are pointing to that, from a fan. I've read every comic, so I know everything kind of place. But when you as a writer are aware of certain suppositions people have about your character, then that creates a lot of potential for things to be not true, or just to subvert expectations, because what matters is the thing you're writing, not what you're pulling from necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I've already seen people talk about like how the death is so on the nose that it's got to be a fake out, that he's actually alive somehow. So I mean, I think the show's kind of doing its job there of like, it's baiting you with things that the audience thinks they know, only to subvert that stuff later. And I wouldn't be surprised either way. Or like, I trust the people involved enough to be like, if it turns out he is Parallax, I'll buy it. And if it turns out he's not Parallax and he comes back to life, then I'll buy it. Just because I think the mystery is engaging enough where like I don't really care about the answers at this point. I'm just kind of along for the ride. I like the world they've built. I like the people that they've introduced to kind of get us through, and I like the fact that you've introduced a really likable Hal with the knowledge immediately that he is going to die, and then also entered this wrench in the works of like he's not a good teacher, he's really alienating, he's really jaded, and there's something deeper to him that you just kind of can't quite grasp because he's not willing to talk about it or admit it. I really like the scene in the interrogation room where the alien guy says the Green Lantern oath back to him kind of mockingly, and that's when Hal kind of loses it and shows the most of whatever his true personality is. I think there's a lot of different ways to read that. Like either that's an admission that Hal's actually evil, or some people say that's actually an admission of the Hal's not as jaded as you think he is. But I like the ambiguity of that moment, and I like that the first time you get a real reaction from him, it's in the face of the Green Lantern oath and what that's supposed to mean. And it kind of highlights the whole tension at the core of this, which is Hal is Green Lantern. He is the Green Lantern, supposedly, that everyone knows. But even he kind of struggles with what the hell that actually means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's that just leaves a lot of room for interesting interrogation and just development throughout the season. There's more like visual coded messages hinting at the Parallax thing as well, not just Hal's like jaded, reckless behavior. There's of course the gray in the hair.
Oh yeah,
is a big tell for Hal and Parallax. And then the one that someone pointed out that I thought was interesting is, you know, this show doesn't have like a real intro or anything. It just has that one little title sequence real quick. The light that flashes from the ring is yellow, not green. So like those do seem to be more like visual clues leading to something. The working fan theory for like timeline that I've seen that would, you know, make sense for it is 2006 Hal takes down Sinestro and then is possessed by Parallax after that, leading into what we're seeing in 2016 with him and John. And again, like that's all well and good, but the Hal being fucking dead and possessed by Parallax for 20 years without doing anything does begin to make you question stuff. So, I'm interested to see where all of that goes and how that stuff develops. I think it is in a really good place where we don't really know, but in like the best possible way, because it's a fucking, you know, mystery. So that's perfect playing with it. So I'm real happy about that.
There is also like there's an interesting dimension to the mystery that I think you could read as being super uncharitable, but I'm kind of willing to give the show the benefit of the doubt because, again, I like the people involved, and they've kind of subverted these sorts of things in the past of just like, you go to a small town, you make jokes about it being kind of a right-wing place, you've got this big militia of people on a dude's ranch, you've got a school shooting, and you've got quote-unquote aliens. And it really does seem like it's kind of trying to set you up for something almost like Secret Wars, or Secret Invasion, not Secret Wars, Secret Invasion, where the metaphor of the foreign invader is the real big bad. And I've seen some people give like some uncharitable reads about that because Tom King's writing this show too. But like, I don't know, man, that stuff seems so in your face and so obvious that it's got to be a red herring. And Lindelof's other big DC show, Watchmen, he has no problem leaning into the idea that Rorschach inspires a bunch of right-wing nut jobs. So, like, I don't think that's where they're going, but I do think it's interesting. And I like that the show is set in a very specific year in 2016, at
Mhm.
the end of the Obama years and at the start of the Trump years. Hal's got that hilarious line about, like, you're from Nebraska and you've got no opinions on Barack Hussein Obama. I thought that was hilarious, but I like that idea of, like, this is a turning point in American history for a lot of people, of the liberal president makes way for the next fascist president, and how potentially being evil at this point, and the way the mystery is kind of baiting you into thinking about these things of, like, oh no, is it going to go in this weird right-wing direction? I think all of that's actually very, very interesting, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes.
I agree. Someone did like the math on it, and I thought this was pretty fascinating. The town that they're in is an actual town in Nebraska, and it is precariously close to the exact geographic center of the United States.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
I think that's like there's no way that's an accident of writing. I think that is 100% intentional, particularly with like changing the location of where Abinsur's ship crashed
Hmm.
to be there. I think that's pretty fascinating to especially like you said with the transition year as the liberal dream falls into fascism. Um, I thought that was pretty fascinating. Um, so the interrogation scene I think is everybody's favorite because he goes in there 5 minutes, don't beat him with a green phone book, please, just gonna ask him questions. And then the questions he asks, where did Harry Potter go to school? Went to Hogwarts, you ignorant fuck.
It's so good. It's so good.
Just fantastic dialogue.
I also like that that's like the real first time we see him use the ring for anything meaningful is when he stops the explosion, but he waits until basically the last possible second.
That's actually my one nitpick from like a fan perspective. I was really hoping that they would go with like the complete opposite of the Bruce Timm rule, where Bruce Timm's DCAU, John was never allowed to make anything. It was all just laser beams and like spheres and shit, or bubbles. And I was like, I hope that like as we see more constructs, it's just it can't just be generic things that it has you have to make something with the ring. Um, and so then when the thing that contains the explosion is just a bubble, I was like, that's that part's slightly disappointing.
I like though that you don't see it, but I like that they mentioned that when John's escaping the car, he makes bubble wrap, and when he's at
Mm-hmm.
the party at the militia place, he makes a bottle opener out of it.
Yep. No,
And
perfect shit.
the way that it just disintegrates into dust is a really cool effect. I like that quite a bit.
Oh, the way that it builds and like forms out of like all the little particles coming together from the ring, I think is just fantastic.
It's really
Um,
cool.
yeah, the beauty shot in this was definitely when he creates the $20 bill to counterfeit the thing. Um,
Which is kind of genius, honestly.
yeah, no, it's fucking perfect. And again, it's like so funny with the interrogation scene. The last moment that like adds a lot of tension. Like I could blow up this whole town, in a matter of seconds. I'll just bubble you up, and then no problem. It's like, you got enough? Yeah, you got your ring, but did you bring the battery to charge it? It's like I've got. Like you see him like, oh shit, for a moment because clearly no, because Hal Jordan. Um, but then like he has to get back into it. I've got plenty of power right now. So I'm wondering if that's gonna become a part of the season going forward, that they don't have the battery to charge the ring right now, so they're gonna be kind of like against the clock of how much like construct energy and what they can actually do. Um,
We
so
we
kind of
haven't
cool.
seen the battery yet, right? Like I don't remember any promos or
The
anything that
promos
even.
have shown the battery.
Oh, they have. Okay, okay. So it does
Yeah, I
exist.
believe it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was at Comic-Con with the ring, because I saw a lot of up close pictures of that recently. So
Okay. Okay.
they did physically manufacture a prop, so fucking John's job is going to be go back to my apartment and get the battery or something.
I just discovered it's really hard to Google search Green Lanterns lantern. Lanterns lantern.
Yeah. Yep.
Did
Lanterns
not.
2026 battery. What do we have to search? How we get there?
I put in Lanterns lantern and it worked. So. Oh, that's a nice design. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay.
Uh, yep. It looks the most like a railroad lantern we've ever had.
Yeah.
So
I like the ring design a lot, I will say. I think it looks great.
Yeah, the gold accents on it are interesting, and again that kind of goes into the parallax ideas. So we'll see. I love that. Like, I like the idea that every Green Lantern ring's a little bit different. I don't like when they're all standard design, but also, you know, artists need to spend time with their families or whatever. So I guess. uh, what did you think of the just overall like characterization and actions of John in this?
I liked John. I liked the actor a lot. He was in a movie a couple years ago that kind of got people on the bandwagon of wanting him to be John Stewart. Called Rebel Ridge, which is a really good movie. And he plays a Marine. I think he's a Marine. He plays a military guy in that as well, which is partly why people are like, black military guy. He's got to play John Stewart. But he's good in this. I really like the fact that he is just kind of stoic the entire time in a way that betrays his emotions like it's not supposed to compared to Hal. Because Hal is so quippy and sarcastic, but it's like you can never get inside his head. It's all a deflection. Whereas John's played as like stoic and serious, but his face is always telling you exactly what he thinks. And I like that contrast between the two a lot. I think they have really good chemistry. And I like that Aaron Pierre like is not at any point ever hiding his disdain for Hal Jordan. That there is this real sense of tension to their relationship of Hal does not want to give up the ring. Hal does not want to retire. Hal does not want to trainee, and he's going to do everything he can to jade John from accepting this responsibility. And John just seems to have no good answer to that or no good out for it yet. And I like that quite a bit. The scene when they're in the car together, and he's just saying yes sir back and forth to Hal, while Hal is explaining that he was hungover and gone for several months and late to their meetup or whatever. It's a really good introduction to both of those guys because you get a chance to see that John Stewart takes this Green Lantern thing really seriously. He looked up to him as a kid. He thinks he's got what it takes because he's also fearless in whatever sense matters to him. But every time he sees Hal, it's like the thing that he was promised about Green Lantern couldn't possibly exist in this guy. And that tension is really fascinating to me. In the comics, I don't feel like they ever do a particularly great job of creating like a real tension between Hal and anybody except Kyle when he's Parallax, which doesn't really count, and Guy because they have to share the ring. So getting a chance to see Hal and John just kind of be not at each other's throats, but clearly not like each other is really interesting.
I like that too because I mean, comics John from the very beginning I find more fascinating than anything that's done with him since. And like it's when John first shows up, it is very much like a white man writing an angry black man, but that doesn't really take away very much from just how cool it is to have an angry black character be the good guy in a comic, be right. So you kind of take a little grain of salt with it, but it's also comics, so exaggerated dialogue, yada yada yada. But like, I love John's initial characterization, but just over the years, he just like loses his teeth so much, and becomes basically a nobody. Like, my biggest critique of the Johns run is the Jeff Johns run is Jon Stewart just completely fades in the background and becomes like a nothing character. And so I find it really telling when all like the right wing guys will talk about Jon Stewart and be like, we don't hate black characters, we like characters like Jon Stewart, and like, well, he's one of the good ones, Jon Stewart, because he's just got no balls in the comics most of the time. He keeps saying, I need to get back to who I was and start questioning things again, and then nothing happens, and he just
yeah,
so
I mean,
I'm always bothered by that.
What's cool about like early John too is like people don't give him enough credit for also being very much a rule breaker, and not always doing things the Guardian's way in the early stuff that just completely fades away, especially not only in modern comics but in the popular consciousness because of the Justice League TV show. Because he's fine in the Justice League TV show, but he's just so stoic and lacks personality, and like you said, he doesn't have any interesting constructs. But like when he shows up, he's not Hal Jordan level of arrogant, but he is a rule breaker. He is defiant. He does do things his own way, and none of that shows up in any of the modern stuff. So it's cool to see a version of John in this where he's not a rule big breaker per se, but he's green. He thinks he has all the answers, and he clearly doesn't. Like at the beginning of the mystery, where he goes down to talk to that cop, and that tips off the alien to go running. And Hal understood that, and the cop understood that, but he didn't, because he thinks he knows better, but he doesn't have the experience for this yet.
Yeah, I just fucked up. So good. Yeah, so it'll be interesting because, like, I joked that Hal's the main character and they killed him off, but, like, Jon Stewart is the main character of the show. He's the first one we're actually introduced to as a child, and it's his journey we're following throughout the series. But Hal is just such a magnetic personality in this that, stoic Jon Stewart kind of fades to the background a little bit. But even then, he gets some, like, good stuff to do. He gets to, like, be, since he's the younger actor and everything, too, he gets to be the one in the action scenes, like, doing the running the alien down and stuff like that. Gets to punch a white guy in the nose. That's pretty cool. Cracks a MILF and lights her cigarette with the Green Lantern ring. So good for him.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh. Yeah, no, I like that a lot. The tension with the ranch owner over always tastes better just eating off another man's grill, and I'll just look at him like, what was that about? Oh, sorry, I just cucked that guy. Nice. And like how awkward John is right away with that, where he's like just the way he rubs his eyebrow when she shows
And he
up.
can't help but smile just a little bit in that moment too.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And then there's like the really dark background. Oh, my dad used to shoot apples off my head. And he's just saying it like it's a totally normal thing. Like, all kids have that one crazy parent story. It's like, no, man, that's you could have died.
I'm really curious about what the heck was going on in his childhood and what becomes of his dad, because he talks to his dad on the phone when he's an adult in 2016 at one point, and his
Does
dad.
he say dad, or are we confirmed that that's his dad?
He says dad on the phone. Yeah, he says dad on the phone.
I forgot that part.
Yeah. He says dad on the phone, and the way the conversation goes, the dad clearly knows he's basically training to be Green Lantern. So I'm very curious about what all is going on there and what his relationship to his dad is. 'Cause there's no way that they don't interrogate how fucked up that childhood is.
Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty messed up, and like the idea of you know, especially when his dad shows up, his brothers are like freaking out that they're like up past their bedtime or whatever. And
Hmm.
John's the one that's just like, no, no, I want this. I'm gonna finish it, and then he like, you know, without any protest or anything, just accepts the consequences of it. Um, and like his dad's legit proud of him for it, which is like even more twisted.
Yeah.
Uh, so like but the line that that got me interested was, so what's his name? Hal something. Hal something. So like they both seem to have some kind of interest. His dad's clearly military as well. They both have some kind of interest in Hal. So it'll just be interesting to see where that all goes and how that side of things line up. Uh, is he being groomed from birth to be Green Lantern or something? I don't fucking know. But
Do you feel like the show is emphasizing the shared military history of the two characters a lot more than most things? Because when you first see Hal on the TV, he introduces himself as an Air Force veteran.
mm-hmm.
And then when his dad comes home, he's still dressed in his fatigues. And when they show up on the ranch, the one guy's like, "Oh yeah, you were a Marine sniper. That's really impressive." And there is something about like they're really hyping up the idea that these guys are both soldiers, and maybe part of that tension is John seems to understand what being a soldier means, whatever that actually means, and Hal doesn't carry himself like he was a soldier. And I don't know necessarily like what they're going to do with Hal's backstory, because they also mention his dad dying when he was a kid, as part of his backstory, but they never do much else with that. And it's interesting that they mention Hal's dad dying at a young age. In the same scene, you get John meeting his weird quasi abusive dad, and it seems like more of that stuff is supposed to parallel. But I was kind of my eyebrows were kind of raised, but like, man, they are really talking about the military part of this quite a bit. I wonder what that's about.
I think that's just become such a central part of Jon Stewart's character, arguably more so than anything else.
Hmm.
Um, Besides maybe just being the black one. Um, Jon Stewart being a Marine veteran was introduced in the Justice League cartoon, and I believe that was also a Tim influence, and it has become one of the most foundational parts of the character since. Uh, that series would have been so different if Dwayne McDuffie just got to do everything with Jon Stewart. Everything good about Jon Stewart in the cartoon is Dwayne McDuffie, and everything bad is Bruce Timm. Just in case anyone's wondering.
Wait, you're saying there are animated projects in which Bruce Timm gets the most credit and has the worst ideas? I'm shocked.
Yeah, yeah. But like, I don't actually mind that. The like military coding of Green Lantern is something I actually like a little bit because the perception around military is different than the perception around cop, and Green Lanterns are cop, soldier, firefighter, superhero, kind of all wrapped into one. And so I find it interesting when things explore that more and
Yeah.
try to lean into those different sides and don't just go, oh, you know, space police. Like, yeah, that's a part of it, but that's not all of it.
Well,
So
and
like the
interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, so the military emphasis here, I think also works well to create like a you know tension between Hal and John, um, especially because uh, they've tried to use this in the past where like, oh well, I was former Air Force and you're former Marines. It's like, well, yeah, but like those guys hate each other. It's not, oh, we both served. It's like, oh well, you're a punk ass. No, you're always gonna stick up your ass. Like those guys fucking hate each other so much. Um,
Well, and it's interesting because I don't think it's a bad thing either, but I think it's interesting when you combine that emphasis with the specific political context that the show is set in, because there's the line about the Green Lantern ring being a weapon of mass destruction. And thinking about the fact that we're at the end of the one liberal era and into the rise of fascism in 2016, Jon Stewart treating the Green Lantern stuff like a duty, like a responsibility, like he's actually in the military, versus Hal being very unprofessional about it, very jaded, very much like has seen the last couple decades of the world decay and has no faith in what he's doing at this point. And if you take the Green Lantern part out of it and just ride this sort of metaphor of like the jaded war vet who has seen the fact that the wars that they're fighting are meaningless meets the young hopeful guy who is about to go into the service at the point where the things deteriorate the most. I think that's a really fascinating contrast there of like, does John have to become Green Lantern? And by that, does John have to inherit enlisting in a military force at the point in time where it's least conducive to do so? And does Hal recognize that because of all the last 10 years of not only the former liberal president, but the war on terror and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm. I think that's really fascinating. I think it's also really interesting to see that expressed in conversations around the costume.
Yeah.
Because like you and I talked about it with Supergirl being like, god damn it. Because I think even if you don't like the Gunn Superman movie or this whole new Gunverse DCU, one thing I think you kind of have to give it is nice in Superman that, like, you know, just everyone wears their costumes all the time. Just like even casually, even when they're just hanging out, they're all wearing the costume in that one scene in the Hall of Justice or whatever. The fact that the costume is not, you know, he has to earn the Superman costume back. Nah, he's just in it the whole fucking movie. It's beautiful. So like seeing that kind of poo-pooed in Supergirl, and she doesn't get it till the climax of the movie, not even the last act, the whole fucking like climax of the movie is when she finally puts the suit on. So I was like, man. And then going into this, you know, like one of those things that was kind of maybe a little worrisome was, they're not wearing the uniforms in any of the promotional material. They don't have the costumes on. And I'm like, god damn it. And then to see that addressed directly with Hal and have it be more, at least on the surface, this seems more story and character based than it is just a mocking of the outfit or whatever, or like that very Hollywood shame of what we are adapting kind of thing.
It does also, like you said, it speaks to that idea of these guys as being part of the military in some capacity, and I love the explanation Hal gave of why he stopped wearing the costume and how he compares it to not wearing a tie anymore. But if you think about like the Green Lantern costume as a uniform, and the idea that Hal's abandoned his uniform and John's trying to earn that uniform, I think that's very fascinating.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So I think that's all there, and it's just a part of the like military underlying structure. Again, King being involved in this, his work with the CIA, is pretty fascinating to see how that came out in the interrogation scene, because instead of asking the guy the questions he's prepared for, asking him random bullshit is just such a strong interrogation move. And like he doesn't need to torture him because he knows how this works. Is just really impressive there. So you get like King's experience and stuff in there. Excuse me. To help helps communicate and sell it, and I'm sure that's pissing people off too. But you know, whatever.
You still there?
That was that was a long.
Okay, that was weird.
Pause. Sorry, I thought you were about to say something on that.
Oh no, I was gonna say, I don't know if you had any other characters that really stuck out to you, because I mean, there's the militia guy, there's the lawyer guy, the alien, and then the sheriff. And then I guess the guy that the woman that John sleeps with. But of all those characters, I really like the police sheriff that they meet, and I love that bit when John's like, "She hates your guts," and Hal's like, "But it's how she hates my guts."
Yeah, I like her character. I did like the militia guy because he just is, this like um twist on expectation over and over and over again.
Yeah,
You hear, oh well, my father-in-law, and you expect like a really old guy. He's like, no, this dude's like, he had that girl young, kind of,
yeah.
kind of father-in-law vibe. Because I recognize the actor from Raising Hope, so like, I know him for comedy acting. I didn't realize, I'd not seen him do anything, quote unquote serious before. And so in this, he's got like, this kind of intimidating air about him. And then you've got like Hal just, I'm grateful you bailed me out, but I'm not going to help you fight the government. It's like, well, you don't want to fight the government. You guys pull up here in the militia, you see all this. No, we're interested in not being colonized by aliens. It's like, well, fuck. He's got some good points, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked the bit when they got to his ranch, and they made a big deal about John being vegan for whatever reason, and
That comes out of nowhere. That was weird.
it's really funny though. I think that what I was watching when he was doing that scene, and this is probably not intentional. This is just vegetarian brain. I he had the tofu steaks on the corner of the table, and he was just sawing that meat right next to the tofu. And as I was watching, I'm like, man, John's steaks, they're going to be contaminated. What was the point of that? Was that on purpose? Was he just being a dick?
I mean, if he's cooking it on the same grill, isn't it getting cross-contamination anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Is he just being a dick because he slept with his wife? I don't know.
I don't know. It's wild. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've seen people argue of like, is John actually vegan or was Hal just being a dick? And I'm like, I mean, he seemed happy about the tofu steaks and he doesn't drink, so fucking I don't know.
I mean, he is a modern healthy guy, which probably means he's vegan, but who knows? I also, just speaking of John, I really like the bit where he shows the kid how to throw the football, and he talks about imagining it go through, and instead of trying to force it, and how that very easily translates to what you're supposed to do with the Green Lantern ring, and that being like the one moment where it feels like he is kind of ready to be Green Lantern, because at that point he's just doing what feels right, showing somebody how to overcome this obstacle, as opposed to trying to impress somebody, which is what he tries to do with Hal all the time.
Yeah. It's interesting with John getting into the ending and stuff, and I guess we'll find out with episode 2, because people are like, oh, he's still not a Green Lantern. All the 10 years later, I'm like, is he not? Are you guys like doing a lot based on the fact that he drove to the crime scene?
Maybe he just likes to drive. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Because they're like saying that, oh well, there's talk about, well, Guy has Hal's ring now, and it's like, well, it's not the same ring prop or whatever. I'm like, I don't fucking know. We'll see what happens with this. But man, 10 years of training to be a Green Lantern is some fucking bullshit. Oh, so we'll see what happens with all that. I don't know. I'm interested though.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I thought the ending was great. I really liked this episode. Just as like a start of a mystery series, I think this was excellent.
I agree. This was really, really good, and I'm excited to talk about the rest of the show. I don't know. Again, maybe we'll see how episode 2 goes. Maybe we'll just we gotta just talk about lanterns again.
This is becoming a lanterns podcast.
Yep. So we'll see, but no, I really, really enjoyed this. So I think we're all out of stuff here, and we'll go ahead and wrap up. What would you give the first episode of Lanterns?
I'll probably give it a solid 4 out of 5 Nebraskans that don't have opinions about Barack Hussein Obama.
I'll give this. Again, like I would tend to agree with you on the 4 out of 5 because it's certainly not like perfect and stuff. There's my nitpicks and there's things that I just would like to see and shit. But I am gonna go ahead and give it just the 5, just for being such a great fucking comeback for the brand, if nothing else. I'm just happy to have good Green Lantern, adaptation in the public sphere again. That feels really good. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5. Lighten a cigarette with the Green Lantern ring and foil.
I think that given the reaction to this and the universal acclaim for Kyle Chandler, Ryan Reynolds will never be able to crack a Green Lantern joke again. At least I hope that's the case.
I mean, at this point, it does become not the character's shit or the like script was bad or whatever. It becomes you just did a bad job. If you're
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he's mostly been done with it, but we'll find out.
Yeah. He
He's
doesn't
gotten
want
a
to be
lot.
caught.
He's gotten a lot of mileage out of making fun of the movie that he was in, which. I still like your point of it's not even the worst movie he was in that year.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, come on. At this point, you can't be petty about being lapped by the guy from Friday Night Lights. All right, it just doesn't look good for you.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I am the Luddite.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing